Good morning, everyone. It is Stephen and Andrea from Pin in the Atlas. You might be able to hear that water right there. That's a natural spring. See, it's running down the green grass. We'll take a look at that in a minute. That is the road that we have come down. And what is this place?
Well, we're at an old ghost town which dates back to 1864. Now, it used to be two mining camps that combined and made one town, and this is all that remains. So let's take a look.
So here is the first little cabin. We'll kind of peer inside. It says Jenkins above the door. Don't think that's original. You see the lino flooring. I wonder if that's been replaced throughout the years, because that doesn't look as worn as you would expect it to be. Little closet in the back.
Well, this mine was worked right up until the 1940s, so none of the original buildings would be here. They'd be long gone.
Oh, yeah.
But there is a little old sink. I'm not sure what the floorboards are looking like.
The floorboards are nasty over there.
And there's also some sort of little cabinet. Again, shot full of bullet holes.
That would have been a nice... It's a little medicine cabinet normally in the bathroom. That's a neat little one, though.
So this cabin is quite large.
We'll continue around to the other side and see what's through that doorway. As the name states, we are in Ellsworth. And like we've mentioned numerous times, we normally don't give out the proper locations, but this one is very well known. So here's the other side. The doorway's propped open. So that's the doorway we were peering through. Got a cabinet up there. And there's a lot of matter on the floor here, so I'm just gonna peek the camera in. Oh, and I can see a toilet, so there's the bathroom. The next cabin we'll check out, you can read, it says Shack of Relief, 1881.
Well, obviously that is not original, because these buildings, I would say, would be made or built possibly, well, late 30s, early 40s.
Looking at the building techniques, yeah, because I mean, and also this is definitely more modern. So people, I'm sure, have come out, because they didn't have these cement blocks back in the 1800s, early 1900s. That have been all stone foundations, and then the woodwork.
And originally 200 people lived here when it was a mining town. And there was a post office. It was built in 1866 and closed in 1884, so not very long.
No.
I know the silver ore, the grade, wasn't very good, which is why they ended up closing the mine down.
Right. And you can really smell the mold in this one. And the floors, they've got that funhouse effect. They're bowing in the middle, slanting down. There's a dip right there. So again, maybe we'll peer down that way a little. There's some steps. So we'll just stay along the outside and peer through the windows. Walking along the outside now. Over there, that looks like cold storage. And then here on the ground, that's an acetylene tank. That has been out here for a while. Some old, looks like recliner chairs. And you can see some of the building techniques, the wood. There's the pressed tin. We do see that quite often. Old coffee tins and things that they press out. Help keep the weather out, rodents out. And then the hinged window.
So I think this dates back to the 40s. What do you think?
I think so too. I mean, yeah, like you said, there's no way this date backs to the 1860s. They just doesn't make sense. Beautiful door. That's in remarkable shape.
So originally there were lots of businesses here, and it was also a stage and a freight line stop. And I do have a fun fact. The original ore used to be hauled down by camels.
Camels?
Camels, apparently.
So there's just 2 more buildings to explore on here. So like you said, for 200 people, this seems to be more like maybe a recreation of some of the buildings, in a sense? Or
I don't know. I think that maybe, you know, over the years people tried their luck in mining.
here we go, the cold storage.
Now the story goes that Indians showed James Daley and R.V. Craig the location of a silver ledge, and that's how silver was discovered. And in fact the Indians, the Native Americans, were employed at the pans, the settlers, contractors and the furnaces.
Wow. Looks like a fireplace back here. Again, the natural wood with the bark. Very cool. In this little shack, you can see on one side it's got corrugated metal. On the front here, it's got large pieces of the pressed tin. Well, I don't think this is pressed tin. This is
Sheet
more
metal.
like sheet metal, yeah. You can see the cut marks the rough cut, where they had like some shears. And that's how long they would each.
And this says Grandpa's shop.
Okay. Grandpa, can we come in? Okay, got some hoses there. Those look like hoses from wash machines.
Well, they've got that little store cupboard which was originally for some sort of food storage to stop, and with fly screen, stop the flies getting in.
Covered with canvas on the top. Little shelf, nothing on there now, but some, well, there's a couple little screws and some droppings.
Craigmont root beer. Now these are 70s, aren't they, with that sort of
With
top?
the pull top, I
Yeah.
believe so.
And an old Pepsi can.
That's a cool old root beer can. Vodka. Back behind the next little shop, looks like that could have been a mine shaft that has collapsed. The way that it's completely surrounded with the barbed wire, that's how they normally fence them off. Don't see a way to even peek in there now.
No, it's totally collapsed.
The last building on this property. So they got some stone foundation steps, hand railing, and look at the shag carpeting.
So just a one-room cabin. And on the door it says Grandma Beulah lived here in 1965. How true that is, I do not know.
So Grandma lived here, Grandpa worked in the shop. We were wrong. Grandma Beulah had a secret room back here. So we don't know if this was an outhouse type, a restroom area, excuse me. There is a broken toilet. So not sure if that's modern. Somebody brought it out here and broke it up. You do have some piping here. But no, that is bolted to the floor. So this was the little water closet. Now here looks more like an original chimney to a little building. They have turned it into a barbecue. Or perhaps they have made this a barbecue to look original. But anyway, this is really cool. Here we are. The natural spring running down through these pipes into the collection chamber, probably for the cows on site. Ooh, that's nice and cold. And then it continues to run off this direction.
So apparently there was a 40-foot well which used to supply water for the mill. Now the mill closed in 1874 and was relocated to a town called Union in 1895. So there's no remains. It was a 10-stamp mill. There's no remains of it now. There's a few other things I find. I mean, obviously over to the left there are a few ruins.
Right.
And a few, I don't know, bits of metal. God, I can't think this morning.
Well, that's a barrel. This looks like an old water container.
But there's no can dump that we found.
No.
There are no outhouses that we found so far. There's no cemetery that we found so far.
Cemetery. And then also, you know, with this mining operation, we haven't found any remnants of tailing piles anywhere either.
Which is really bizarre.
So we have given this place like a little bit of a look around, like through the binoculars and things, to try to find some interesting points, but doesn't seem to be a whole heck of a lot left.
Now there is this building down here. I think this looks like another cold storage.
That it does. So we'll walk up into here. Very chilly morning, so that sun feels good. Oh, we found the can dump. Oh, this is all collapsed now. Lots of pine cones. So this was very small. Good support beam up here.
What are the nails looking like?
Let's see.
They're
round.
Yeah.
Decided to go for a hike, went up to a ridge, and were able to spot this. We did find the mine. See here on the right side, large metal ore bin. So this would have been, I know it came up in pieces, but still, that'd have been quite the trip pulling all this up here.
Via camel.
Camels. And then just behind it, you got a small head frame and then a platform here, so they would have had a windlass that would have gone up to a wheel down there, up on top there, and then headed.
There is a mine. It is gated because of bats.
Right.
It's very deep as well.
So this is a fairly steep incline shaft. Don't know if I can zoom in and get a look at the angle, but basically the angle down here continues all the way through.
Can you zoom in on that? There's some writing on one of the bars.
JRKK.
Is that what it says?
Mm-hmm. Okay, after having a little mooch around here, we've got some questions for this place, and you might as well too. So obviously these ruins are not from the 1800s. They are more modern, and we do believe that people have come out to try to fix it up and just lend a handing.
A lending hand.
Yeah, that's the term I was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, from our experience, we think that these cabins were built maybe in the 40s. And it was still being mined, you know, by the odd person. The original town site, we can't really find any remnants of. We haven't been able to find a cemetery. We've even looked on Google Earth. We found one possible grave. Not sure whether or not it's original or whether or not, in fact, it is a grave.
Yeah, it could be one of those, because we have gone to places where, you know, people will set up false graves just to attract more attention to a place. So that could be a possibility. Maybe not.
And no can dump and no outhouses.
Yeah, very strange.
So we'll leave it for you to decide. And on that note, get out there, go and explore, put another pin in the atlas, and we will see you on our next adventure.
Bye. Up that direction was Ellsworth, most of those buildings that we're camped out at. A little further up the canyon, down the canyon, however we want to look at it, we found another homestead.
Now I'm wondering whether or not this was like the second part of the camps, because they were two separate camps that combined to make the town. Because this is so much further away from the little area that we were in earlier, makes me wonder whether or not this was the original second camp.
Could be, and the construction techniques are different. See, it's got a stone foundation. This hand-hewn log here. It's cool. You can see the axe chops.
I mean, it's still that the nails are still round nails, so it obviously is a lot earlier, but I'm wondering whether or not they built on an original
Stone foundation.
Yeah.
That's could be. That'd be a good idea to start. See, got this wire over the window. See, you've got the wood slats there with the pressed tin roof over top. Help keep it dry.
little area where a stove would have been.
Oh yeah? And then this is a very interesting little section to the cabin. You can see that looks like that sap just bleeding down.
I think this was a pantry.
Very dark. Very small, but fairly clean inside.
Or they could have looked up their naughty children.
That's what I'm thinking.
There is a...
So they could keep an eye on them.
Yep. There is an air vent there. And it's...
Oh, it's got wire.
Yep.
Very intriguing. So outside this cabin we did find a can dump. It's a decent size. And it's got what you would expect to find in a can dump. A bunch of old cans.